Callahan, owner of Adventures Online, and we want to thank her up front for keeping us on the straight and narrow. The ground rules of this forum: each candidate will have an opening statement of 1 minute, according to the number that they chose earlier, followed by questions from the moderator in rotation. Each candidate will have a 1 minute response to the question and a 30-second rebuttal. Then the candidates will have an opportunity to ask his opponent at least 2 questions, time permitting, with a 30-second rebuttal. The forum will conclude with the candidate giving 2-minute closing, also according to their number chosen earlier. I would like to thank the audience in advance for practicing courteous behavior and to all involved and for turning off their cell phones. Now, according to the draw, the first opening statement will be by Mayor Arthur Vigeant.
Thank you. My name is Arthur Vigeant. I've had the honor of being the mayor of this great city for the last 4 years. Working with the city council, the school committee, and all our employees throughout the city, we've had a great track record of success. The small things like the Facebook page, and the internship program for the high school and college students, to the Memorial Beach project, and obviously a senior center. Working with them, I think we've realized that working together we can accomplish almost anything in the city of Marlborough. I look forward to the questions tonight and to act and show you where I would like to go in the next 2 years to continue my success as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Ed Bigelow.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Ed Bigelow. It's a tremendous honor to run for the mayor of our great city. We have just tremendous opportunities here. My family has always served the city well and come back to serve it again. And that's kind of like in the position I'm in. I was the fire chief here. I have the scars on my lungs and body to prove the service I've done for the city. You can trust me with the city. And from my great-grandfather, Edward L. Bigelow, my namesake, what he did with the library. My great-grandfather was an alderman. My grandfather was an alderman. My father was a councilor. He went away to World War II, came back and served the city again as a city treasurer and tax collector. Then he was the first industrial commissioner. So I just feel it's within my blood to serve the city in any way I can, and it's just an extreme honor to be here this evening. Welcome to the debate.
Thank you very much. Now, the first question from one of our residents will go to Arthur Vigeant, Mr. Vigeant. It has been said that Marlborough needs a new fire station, library, and elementary school. List how you would prioritize these projects.
We've already taken the steps in 2 of those already. We put our application into the SBA down in Boston to hopefully get on the list to receive over a 60% grant from the state to build a new elementary school. They're actually coming out tomorrow to do a site visit down at Richard School. So that's on track, and hopefully by the end of the year we notified whether we will be getting that grant or be waiting for another year in addition. But we hope to have that opened up in the next 5 years. The library, we sent down a report. We started the study to investigate the feasibility of where, how large, and what we would have to have in the new library. So that's on track to come in after the school is built. And then we have to start looking at the resources we have to look at an additional fire station down in the western part of the community.
Thank you. You have a rebuttal.
These projects just unfortunately are stuck in progress. The fire station probably should have been accomplished maybe 10 years ago when we knew the mall was a permanent fixture here, and they were willing to work with us when department heads, we had a city planner there that would coordinate activities. It was a clear vision for the city. The school, we kind of anticipated the need was coming. We used modulars, we had everything else, but again, it's another issue stuck in progress. And the library, it's long overdue. That building needs to be put on the tax rolls in a new library.
Thank you. The second question will go to The current administration has shown itself to be very pro-big business. What do you think should be done for the city's small businesses to help them?
In order for the small businesses to survive and flourish, we need the big businesses. We just need the commerce, gasoline, buying newspapers, candy, and lunch, dinner, grocery shopping. But the big business will saturate us to the point where during the next economic downturn, we're gonna suffer. The tax base gets shifted to the residents when certain companies leave. After the tax increment program, a lot of times these companies then will look to go to another place. And we've just got to make sure that we don't become oversaturated so that during the next economic downturn, the small businesses, the gas stations, the corner stores begin to suffer as well. We need to support our small businesses to keep their employees working, and we need a certain amount of large industry, but we're at the point where we have to balance it off now. We're just saturating ourselves with too much, and it will hurt us during the next economic downturn right across the board.
Thank you. Mr. Vigeant?
Yeah, I would agree with some of that. I think the small businesses obviously get the best benefits from the large corporations. They're spending money in the gas stations, convenience stores, restaurants on a daily basis. We've been fortunate to bring in over 5,000 new jobs in the last 4 years and filled almost 2 million square feet of office space. These are the backbone of the city. They're bringing in the additional revenue to allow us to do things like the new library and the new school. So I think the big business is filling in for all the small ones out there. It's bringing in the support for the small businesses.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Vigeant, do you support reinstating a city planner position? To whom should this position report? Please justify your answer.
No, I think the way we've been doing it the last few years is we outsource the planner's position with the MAPC. We're able to call them when the council or one of the board members on one of our municipal boards needs some help with planning. We go through the MEDC, and through them, they have a contract with the MAPC, which is a planning quasi-government organization that actually comes in with the specialty that we call them about. So if we have a small downtown project, they have someone that is on staff already that can deal with small downtowns like we have. If it's a larger project for development, we can bring them in a different team for that. It's worked good through the city council and through the MEDC to support that position. If we hire someone, the city's always put that person in a different spot and use them for different things over the years. And I think this way we're outsourcing it, we don't have the future benefits.
Thank you.
As a former department head, I understand the value of the city planner. The city planner coordinates the activities, and he brings about a vision that he brings to the developers. At a city council meeting, the planner should be there. The planner should be answering questions about the vision, what's going on in the city, what's the long-term vision. And if you look at the central fire station on Maple Street, that's the type of vision we got from the planner. I worked with the planner. We have trees, green space, adequate parking. We want the planner's vision that will tell them how we want it brought about.
Thank you. The next question for Mr. Bigelow. The sign ordinance has been an issue for community nonprofit organizations. How can organizations advertise their community events? Can there be an amendment to this ordinance?
From the generation I come from, signs aren't the most popular thing. I mean, I'm not a big fan of political signs. When I lived on Pleasant Street, I never wanted any political signs. Now that I'm running for an elected office, I see the value of political signs and how they can really influence people. So if signs are influencing people in our nonprofits need that type of exposure, we have to come up with something. But we have to hear from the people, what would you put up with for temporary signage? Should there be an issue with the signage for like the Heritage Festival? Or should that just all be something that's incorporated and that's free that we can put up, but that somebody's monitoring so that they come down in a timely manner and not everybody is hanging out signs that are of a derogatory nature or something else. So there has to be a policing of that from code enforcement. But we definitely do have to come up with a system, but that's something we're all going to have to work on.
Thank you. Mr. Bishop?
Obviously, signs have been a big issue in the city of Marlborough for a number of years. I've been a proponent of working with the planning board and the city council to have a simple application for the nonprofits that are having these citywide events. That they can go into the building department, if it's approved, building inspector can approve it himself, up to so many signs to be put out so far in advance of the event. I think it's simple to do. It's just a question of getting the city council and the planning board together on board with that.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mrs. Vigeant. Outside legal bills are astronomical. Can a mediator be used to save costs?
We have been spending a lot of money on our legal services, and I've had at least 2 different meetings with the city solicitor to discuss this. We've had specialty counsel come in for different things. We have the Bettman's, the lawsuit that's been going on, the Care lawsuit that's been going on for a number of years to try to protect the residents down there. We had the issue down at Ward Park that we had to bring in counsel for, so I definitely believe we need to continue to take a look at it and see any way we can streamline those legal services. We also want to make sure that the city's protected when we get into these legal situations.
Mr. Bigelow?
Some of these legal costs, though, can be attributed to just frivolous lawsuits, arbitrations, civil service hearings, because things can't be settled here in our city. Things aren't being settled at City Hall. If a department head has trouble with an employee, it's up to the mayor to get them together, work the issue out, and stay out of Boston. We don't want all these appeals. We don't want civil service hearings. We want it handled the Marlborough way, the way it was when I was a department. We tried to very rarely get all these outside legal people involved because they don't understand. Everything becomes very costly, and it hurts the employees.
Thank you very much. The next question. Mr. Bigelow. There are 3 high schools in Marlborough, which together make our community attractive to new families. What would you do to help the Marlborough, what would you do to get all the schools, advertise all 3 schools to make sure that families know about them?
That's the most fortunate thing about living in Marlborough. I was one that walked to Marlborough High School. I get to walk to Bigelow School, grammar school. Then I was taken out of the system, sent to Fay School, small class size, 1 teacher, where I excelled. Then I came back, and I was able to walk to the high school and take advantage there. The guidance department was excellent, got me into college. They've been great with my children. They've got them at the athletic programs and just the support services. But if you wanted to go into vocational, you'd go to Assabet. If you want to go to the regular high school, you'd go to Marlborough High. And then with the charter school, we just have now all the choices within our public school system. But we've got to keep them all competitive and equal. And I think that it's the class size, the teacher ratio are going to be the key. And to sell that, we just have to find some other ways of generating revenue that are going to help pay for our schools. And just keep the 3 high schools going active, because it's a great draw for the jobs and the people that are moving here. We want them to move to our community, bring their families here, and contribute to the commerce.
Mr. Bishop?
I think we have more diverse schools within the community of Marlborough than probably anywhere else in the state. Between our own public school system, the parochial school that I see, the charter school, the vocational school, Hillside School, we've had a great opportunity for our students. Getting them to work together hasn't been as easy as I originally thought it would be. But the funding, it's because of the funding that it caused some friction between the different schools. We fund Assabet by itself. The charter school is funded directly from the state and comes out of our allotment.
Thank you. The next question is a rather long one from one of our residents. The video of the new trash collections. Sorry. The video of the new trash collection bin says, "Take a bin from the garage and roll it to the sidewalk. But this beautiful plan works only for absolutely plain services, since there are a lot of streets in Marlborough which are located on steep hillsides with narrow roadways and no sidewalks. A lot of families don't have a garage or any other hiding spot for those huge bins. The only place we can put our bins is in front of our houses. During the winter months, vehicles such as garbage trucks and snow plows knock the bins and lets all the trash out of the bin. We also have to keep leaf bags in front of our houses for months because the period of yard waste collection is too short and uncomfortable. Now the question. Why did the trash collection become such a problem for us in the last 3 years? While the city government is so proud of this reform, what are you going to do to improve this situation? Mr. Vigeant.
Actually, the programs work pretty well. Before Mayor Stevens left, she actually signed a contract to go into this program. It didn't quite get to the point we had to purchase the bins. So when I took office, I immediately had to purchase the bins for the program. It's actually cleaned up a lot of the neighborhoods. We ask people not to put the bins out for any farther out than 24 hours before they're supposed to be collected. We found that our recycling rate has gone up. In the neighborhoods of cleanup. On an individual basis, the DPW has actually tried to work with different residents that have had similar issues to that. We've had smaller bins that have been delivered to different residents, and we continue to work with them to make this program as successful throughout the community as it has been for the people that do have those driveways in the areas they can play.
I think that we've got to look at the ability for some neighborhoods to just go back to using the bags. The bins are an issue. The bins do keep the birds out of it. They keep the trash from blowing around. They are an upgrade for certain neighborhoods, but other neighborhoods are not conducive really to keep recycling, to put the trash. They're going to put it all in one because there isn't room for two, and you go to the single collection of rubbish. So I think that there's going to have to be a waiver or something for certain areas, just to make it easier for the rubbish collection, particularly in the wintertime.
The next question is a big one. Three-legged stool is often used in metaphors. Three pillars that sustain and strengthen a common entity. The city being the common entity, what are the three pillars of our city?
Well, the three pillars of our city, one is the foundation of the people. The people that make up Marlborough are the pillars that make it all happen. Secondly, it's our location. Our location in Massachusetts in the highway system makes us, second to none. And the third is the industry and all the work that our elected officials have done over the years to make us a shining star. Our schools, we produce some great students out of the schools. We have some great industry here, Suburban Propane. We have Ken's Foods. They've been here forever. They're on our side. So but it's the people that make up the sports teams, the teachers, the firemen, our policemen. Everybody always comes together to work in all of our best interests. And we have a great Christian community founded on strong values that are just old American. And we're all very fortunate to live here. And I think that we've got a very bright future ahead of us.
I would say that I agree with Skee. The residents are one of the legs of the school system that we have, and our public safety. Probably the three biggest things for our community. No matter what you have in this community for events, the public always comes through, whether they're fundraisers for somebody or just a good time, like the Oktoberfest that's coming up. The residents of our city always come through. Public safety on both fire and police, and they're on a daily basis, and our education system gets better every day.
Next question, Mr. Vigeant. What is the time horizon for road construction to be completed on main streets? And does the city have to take the lowest
First of all, for the most part, we do. Under the procurement laws, we have to accept the lowest bid that is qualified. So it makes it very difficult. We have some issues when we put some of these contracts out. But it tries to keep the nepotism and the other issues out of the contract process. As far as the street projects go, we approved $13 million 2 years ago. We had over $6 million in Chapter 90 money. We immediately put all that money to work. Obviously, it takes a while to get these projects done. We've done Bolton Street, done Farm Road, we've done Cimarron Drive, and we continue to do projects. I plan on going down to the City Council in the next 3 weeks. The bond package was just presented to me by DPW Commissioner for another $11 million to put into our street projects over the next year or two.
One of the, what takes the street project so long is just the material that has to be put down, the compacting, the pipes that are laid. I mean, I've done this work from the laborers, and I've had police say to us, the work in Marlborough is a lot better than in other areas, so it takes time, folks. One of the things, though, with the streets is we've got to start berming some of these raised structures. Farm Road, there were just way too many flat tires, way too many problems. If you berm with a little soft tire, the steel plates around some of these structures that are raised, you're going to save that problem. That's something I think we just got to add to the bids when we go up. It's not the low bid, it's just making sure you include everything in the bid.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Bigelow, the next question. With all of the new businesses in industry coming into our city, how do you see this impacting our overall population numbers and demographics? How do you see any change as it relates to our school system?
Well, what we see, if you travel on 495 and you see the traffic coming in and off of Cimarron Drive during the peak traffic times, you know a good percentage of the jobs really aren't here yet, but they're going to be. But we've got to provide the housing. We've got to provide the housing so they can afford to live here, because not all the jobs are the top-paying jobs. So down the road, we're going to have to provide more housing, and that's going to bring more people, and it's going to stress out our schools, our public safety, but we've got to deal with it. So there's going to have to be some revenue enhancement. We have to look at regionalizing services that we have that are tried and proven. Looking into an ambulance service, is that going to raise some money for us? If we do it with permanent intermittent police and firemen at the regular rate of pay. Can we make money off of more lease space in the Walker Building? Potential areas that we could lease out at the new fire station. Could we have a new fire station with a registry office, or with a fast lane checkout booth, or even commuter rail kiosk? There's so many ways that we can just begin to generate some revenue, and that's what we're going to need to put up with all the costs that are going to come with our growth.
I think the new residents that are moving to the city, a lot of them are coming from Boston and Cambridge for these new jobs. As I stated, we've created over 5,000 jobs in the last 4 years, and over 3,000 of them are here already. The Avalon Bay project has about 300 apartments that are almost completely rented out. A lot of those people are new residents of the city. There are very few kids, believe it or not, in a complex like that. We have the Fairfield project going just down the street from that 40B project. The affordable housing will be down there with about 250 apartments. They're just breaking ground and getting started. So we have to watch the number of children coming into the system until we get that new school.
We have time for one extra question, and it will be, the opiate crisis has impacted Marlborough as it has so many other communities. What can the city do to help stem this problem? Mr. Vigeant.
I started really paying attention to this probably 6 to 8 months ago. It seemed like every meeting I went to was a topic of conversation. I had an opportunity to go to a meeting with the district attorney, talk to her about her efforts. I went up and talked to the sheriff about his efforts, Sheriff Katusian, and we've actually formed a task force. There were some local parents that were forming their own groups. We formed a task force involving the ambulance service, police and fire, the hospital, and we're trying to figure out what we can do that will make the situation better. I think we're going down the education road. We're going to start educating kids in a much lower grade level, and it's going to take a long time. It's not something that there's any one fix. And talking to everyone that's been involved in this, there is no silver bullet on this. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process. We have to stay on it. We have to start now.
To combat this, there has to be an identification and awareness program that starts in the schools and is spread across the board to everybody in the community. If you see drug activity, and it could involve heroin, cocaine, any of these illicit drugs, it leads to money problems, it leads to break-ins in cars, it leads to neighborhood unrest. And it's going to be identification and recognized from the public, from you, to let our law enforcement, these task forces, know where these areas are and eradicate these drugs from coming in the community.
Thank you very much. And that completes the first section of our candidates forum. The next section will feature the candidates asking each other 2 questions. And for the first question, because you just finished, you have the last question. Mr. Bigelow, do you have a question for Mayor Vigeant?
Yes, Mayor, you touched on the Bedminster of the Week here lawsuit and whatever's going on there. And I know that, whatever happened there, has happened. But in the future now, with the sludge, we're going to have increased sludge at the Wesley and Easterly plant. Is there any plan in place that's going to deal with that sludge long-term? And do you know how we're going to pay for it if We Care decides not to take our sludge anymore from the treatment plants?
Actually, that was about a 20-year contract that was entered into 16 years ago. We have about 4 years to go in that contract. The issue really is that We Care is not doing what they entered into the contract for. They're not doing composting. They're really just storing it and removing the sludge that's down there. The neighborhood has been suffering dramatically down there from the smell of We Care, and that's why we took legal action. This contract will be over in 4 years. Once we can get We Care out of town, we'll actually be saving hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by entering into a new contract with someone else to remove the sludge. If We Care were to leave tomorrow, I've been assured by DPW Commissioner, we could pick up and move sludge out of Marlborough with another carrier the next day.
Thank you. Do you have a rebuttal?
Will it be at the same cost, or will there be increased costs? Or
There'd be much greater savings if we could eliminate the contract tomorrow and start hauling it out through a different vendor.
Thank you. Mr. Vigeant, question for you.
And Skee, you've noted in several of the times I've seen comments from you that you plan on doing more with the school system and increasing our resources to the school system. Over the last 3 years, I've increased their budget by an average of 5.5%. I guess my question is, how much would you be putting into the school system, and where would that additional money be coming from?
the answer to that, ma'am, is I think in our schools, we have a tremendous opportunity to get in on the municipal solar program, where we can actually, the municipal program, we can collect a tremendous amount of kilowatts through a solar collection. We could sell that. It's called net metering. So some of our electrical costs, or maybe all of them, at the schools can be offset by net metering. And then we sell back that energy at roughly 40 cents a kilowatt or whatever. I'm not sure of all the specifics. But that's going to alleviate some money in the budget. But it isn't all money. It isn't all money. It's got to be curriculum, like what's going on downstairs here now today with the curriculum. And it's got to be just the community behind the teachers to produce a student. But with solar and wind collection, these are things we're going to have to look at as our energy costs keep going up. And net metering, I think, it will make a big difference in the budget to fund those improvements.
And I don't disagree with you. Net metering is a good way to go. We just entered a contract with the Housing Authority to do net metering for all our housing complexes for the seniors. So we're going to be doing substantial savings there over the next few years. In addition to the 5.5% increase in the budget, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars out of our cable trust money for technology for the schools. But I also agree that money isn't the answer to it all. We need to get the schools more involved in the business community so there's a closer relationship between the two to move forward.
Thank you very much. Now,
guess I would get on the economic development road, Skee, because I'm still a little confused on the comment you made about the large business in the town and how that's gonna hurt us down the line. When we have a building down there, whether the building's full or whether the building's empty, they're still paying real estate taxes. We just don't get that byproduct of the residents spending money in other small businesses in town. So I don't understand how you're saying that we're going to have this big vacuum someday down there. Maybe you can explain that a little bit better.
Well, Mayor, during my, we've both grown up in Liberty. We've seen the economic fluctuations that have occurred, and without proper forecasting, there's been some problems. We had 20 plants in the city, 20 digitals, all paying taxes, all requiring us, our services. But they also supported us. They gave us printers at the fire station. When they left, they had a computer-generated printout where they were going, and there was no calling back on the radio for cross streets. Could you repeat that address? We had businesses here that were really living within our community and helping us thrive. Then they left during a downturn. And unfortunately, we know that's going to happen again. It's capitalism. We just go cyclical, and it's how we forecast it. And I think when we overdevelop some of these smaller companies, that they just find it more advantageous to go back home or to close up altogether.
You mentioned the TIP program also, and just like you to know that when we use this TIP program, if there's no employees in the building or the number of employees goes down, they get no benefit from that program. In addition to that, I still want to fill the additional space that we have in the city. We haven't built new buildings. We're having our first new building built, 65,000 square foot building for a company moving into town. Just went through the permitting process. We have the new hotel coming in and a small strip mall going down with the old digital site. But filling these vacant spaces is what we've been working on for the last 4 years, and we've accomplished that by filling over 2 million square feet.
And the final question.
Mayor, with all the industry that's coming into town and with our aging population, a lot of people that grew up here would like to downsize and continue to live here. Are there any plans for any public housing or any affordable housing projects so that the seniors are going to be able to live here and enjoy our city the way they always have? And people that are working here, coming in on Cimarano Drive right now, that can't quite afford to live here, but live on all the outskirts, don't really bring commerce here. They drive in and out, they clog up traffic, but one day they might want to live here. Are there any plans for that?
Well, one of the funny things is, although we have the highest daily salary in Metro West, almost $100,000 a year, our nighttime salary, our residents here, is one of the lowest ones. So we need to keep that affordable housing in place, and that's why I've gone to the state with on two different occasions with an affordable housing program to put more money from the state and from the city into our neighborhoods, making those into affordable housing stock. You're correct about the apartments. The new apartments down at Avalon Bay, the 2 bedrooms, are running about $2,500. But the people coming to fill those spots are making the money in these jobs. That's why they're moving down there from Cambridge and Boston. But we do need to keep the neighborhoods and the residents in the city being able to afford to live in the house they're in. That's why we try to keep the real estate taxes down as much as we possibly can. And with an average increase in the tax bills over the last 3 years of 2.3%.
We definitely need it. There's veterans that are being forced out of living with their families and become homeless. I mean, there's all kinds of public housing needs that are out there that need to be addressed. So I'm glad that we're addressing them. And there's people that want to live, downsize and live in Marlborough because we've always lived here. And there are just ways to do that, but they seem to be disappearing, drying up, and not enough of them.
Thank you very much. And thank you both. That was great. We're going to move to the closing statements. And by draw earlier on, Mr. Bigelow, you get to do it first.
Well, thank you. I want to thank the Chamber and Channel 8 and Mayor Vigeant for this opportunity to be here. I've given my service to the city. I worked through the budget process with the City Council to remove the hardwire fire alarm system in Marlborough. It's a City Council order. We came up with all the legislation for self-service gas. We worked on the new mall, the ice rinks, everything was new at the time that I was a department head. Worked with the city planner. I think the days of the TIFs are over. I think we've done enough economic development. We need to get a city planner back, an industrial commissioner back, that are going to do the job for us every night that we have a city council meeting. The questions will be there. We won't be worried about a wall being built out on Lakeside Ave. It was designed in 2009, and certain councils now don't think looks quite right, but it's going to be handled. Well, the planner should have come up with that the other night and said, hey, here was the vision you guys had, and here's where we were going. Now, I had that as a department head. We had a plan, brought us around. I was on the traffic commission, the site plan review committee. And there's just things today we've got to get a handle on and do better, because otherwise it's going to be out of control. And that the taxes that we're saving today are just going to have to go up naturally, because of our tax base is going to be there, but the need and the price of the need is just going to keep going up and up. So I'd appreciate your vote. You can trust me. I've lived here my whole life, and the whole idea is to give back to our community. Mayor Vigeant has done an excellent job, but their time is over now. They've done a great job up to this point, and it's time for new, fresh ideas to bring us to the new frontier. It's a new time, and I appreciate your vote on November 4th to bring about that change.
Thank you very much. Mayor Vigeant.
Thank you, and I also would like to thank Channel 8 and Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this tonight. I love this job, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job at it over the last 4 years. We've increased the job opportunities in the city, with over 5,000 new jobs coming to the city, filling over 2 million square feet of office space. The reason that's so important is because we have a pie that we're able to pay $144 million budget that we have out of, and that's on the backs of a lot of the residents. This pie is going to continue to increase because of these new initiatives that we have, whether it's the fields, or the new school, the new library, or the new fire station. Additional revenues have to come in to pay for these things. That's why we're working so hard to fill those office spaces down there, put some new buildings down there, and generate the revenue through that source. The field program we have for the kids, we have Water Park just weeks away from being done, and we're going out to bid on the first turf field in the city of Marlborough, in back of the Charles Whitcomb School, middle school, to start that and have that completed in the spring of 2016. Really excited about the beach project. The biggest issue we had this year is where everyone was going to park. We're going to be addressing that over the winter months, and that same issue won't be there for next year. I just can't believe how utilized these public areas are being used. If you get out on the weekends now down at the Board Park, you'll see the parking lots full, people in the tennis courts, the basketball courts, the kids out there on the skateboards, and the seniors of our city playing pickleball in one of the area areas in the tennis court. So I'm really excited to continue in the things we've been doing, moving the city in a positive direction, working with the team and the city council and the school committee and all our employees to continue more working in the right direction. Please vote for me, Arthur Vigeant. Continue more in the right direction for the next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would definitely like to thank all our participants. I'd like to thank our partners, WMCT-TV, Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. I would like to thank you, Mr. Bigelow. I would like to thank you, Mayor Vigeant, and for coming together. This is not an easy job, as you can see. There's a lot of information that, and a lot of decisions that...
You're talking your job?
No, I'm talking your job. No. You can have mine. You know, if you want. I don't know. Actually, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of decisions that you saw through all of these questions that were given to me by our residents. There's different subjects, and you have to be knowledgeable about all of it. And I thank you. I thank you for doing that. Also, I would like to thank our timekeeper, Karen Callahan, for working with us and participating in this very informative evening. And just please join us for the Chamber's Heritage Weekend, beginning on Friday, October 23rd, with a carnival on South Fulton Street. That'll continue throughout the weekend. On Saturday, October 24th, we will feature our first annual Oktoberfest on the, thanks to the city, on the top of the parking deck behind City Hall. It's going to be a great time. Please join us. And then on Sunday, this will be our 20th annual Heritage Festival. All of Main Street will be closed. There's over 100 exhibitors coming. There'll be entertainment, there'll be fun, all geared toward family, and also our famous Chowder and Chili Challenge. So please join us, and please vote. Voting is not only each citizen's privilege, it's a responsibility of each and every one of us. Please remember to vote on November 3rd for the future of your city.